What's good in the hood, YouTube? This is Crazy Samurai 71 here, bringing you episode 13 now of the Powerpuff Girls 2016 TV show. I want to talk about this. It was a interesting episode. The episode's title is Arachno-Romance, as in like like spiders and stuff like that. So, the episode starts off with you have Blossom, who's like organizing things, putting out like food and crafts stuff, and they're ready to watch a movie or whatever, and they're getting ready to do it, and like she's organizing the foods like based off of like region of origin and everything like that, like the snacks and everything. And the thing is that she ends up getting all ready. She ends up calling her sisters in, and then suddenly you have all three girls sitting on the couch. And they're asking for the professor to come over. The professor is dressed up in like a nice tie, a nicer dress shirt, and is looking pretty polished. And you may think to yourself, why is that? Well, he's expecting someone. So what happens is that he ends up sitting down, and suddenly the doorbell rings, and at that point we get to meet this female doctor who the professor has, has some sort of attraction towards, and her name is Dr. Sapna Monero, and she's Indian, which is not. I mean, I pretty much assume that she's Indian or of some sort of Middle Eastern background, which is fine. And the thing is that he has a crush on her, and she does have a crush on him. So the thing is that they end up all sitting around the television, watching the movie called Space Tow Trucks and the Infinite Jumper Cables, which is similar to the show that they had them watching before, which is interesting. Anyway, all that's happening, and then what happens is that you end up getting the girls watching. You end up hearing her talking about spiders and all that, because they're waiting for a couple minutes before it starts, and suddenly they see the spider, and the girls are freaked out by the spider. And the thing is that she ends up explaining that, like, oh no, spiders are nice and everything, they actually help a lot, and they do so, and the girls are freaked out, and the professor explains that, like, she studies spiders, she's a biologist that focuses specifically on arachnids. So they're a little bit freaked out about that. Then what happens is that since they're actually giving all five of them enough room to sit together, they end up even, like, the professor takes Bubbles' snacks, and then the snacks go to the doctor, because the doctor asked for it. And they're sort of like on a date with, like, the professor's daughters and everything like that. And she doesn't believe everything that's on the news, but she's kind of an interesting character. And apparently what happens is that she ends up reading an article which basically spoils the end of the movie or something like that. And then the girls are really annoyed and everything. And then what happens is that they're about to kiss and say like, oh, Buttercup gets in the way and says, like, are you serious? And like gets in the way after she spoils the end right as it starts. And the thing is that then the professor's like, Buttercup, you're blocking the way. And it's like, well, actually, you're not blocking the way. I can see everything I need to see here. And he's like referring to Dr. Sapna. And the thing is that when they're about to embrace for a kiss, what happens is that she ends up reacting poorly and ends up running off and saying, oh, I have to renew some magazine subscriptions and deal with some other stuff in that way. And the professor's like, wait, at 8:30 on a Friday you have to do that specifically? And she's like, yeah, I have to get that I have to jump on it because it's going to get really, like, packed up later. I mean, it's really important. And so then she ends up leaving the house. At that point, we then end up seeing that there's a rampaging spider going through the town, and we also see that the girls end up hearing about it and having to go and deal with it. So what happens is that they end up going at it and end up beating the spider into the ground, which the spider ends up digging a massive crater into the ground, and then suddenly they're like, wait, where did the spider go? And then we see Dr. Sapna, who is on the side. And the thing is, the girls are like, "What are you doing here, doctor?" And the thing is that she ends up saying that, "Oh, I'm here to save the spider. I might be around the crater, but like, I'm here to save the spider. I mean, I know there's a spider outside, so like that makes sense, right?" And so the thing is that the girls are like, "Okay, I guess," and like they're a little suspicious. They don't really know what happens, and they're also at the same time thinking like, "Wait, it's not like she if we don't let them stay together, that like the professor will forget about us," and then they end up having like a dream about them, like about like their father, the professor, with the doctor, and like them, and like him forgetting about the girls. And the thing is that they're like, "Nope, we have to do something about this." So they end up typing up an email to the doctor, basically, and they say it's from the professor. And the thing is that it has a combination of like Blossom's way of talking, which is a little bit more straightforward but still kind of rough, and then Buttercup's more like nasty and rude way of talking in and breaking up, and then Bubbles being kinder but at the same time still being like tough in some way, but that sweeter kind of thing, and then even adding a video that's like kind of cute and fun or whatever. And the thing is that they end up sending it, and it's like, this is kind of mean. But then what happens is that the next day we end up waking up. The professor has like 5 o'clock shadow, doesn't look good. He has a banjo and he's playing a song about the doctor, and he's crying and moping and everything like that. And the girls end up realizing how much he really cares about her and how much it really matters and everything. And she really is a nice person. It's hard. So then what happens is that they end up going to find the doctor at her lab, and she's talking to a spider about love advice because like she broke up with the professor. And the thing is that it's kind of interesting. So what happens is that we end up seeing that that they end up saying like, "Oh, why did you break up?" Like, she basically says that she knew that it was from the girls, it wasn't from the professor because of how they wrote it and everything. And the thing is that basically she said like she broke up on her own whim, not based off of their letter at all. Their letter really didn't mean much in that way. And the thing is that she was going to explain it, but then suddenly she's like, "No, I can't be with him for a special reason." And then suddenly she ends up turns into the gigantic spider from before, and that spider ends up rampaging around the town. And at one point the girls are fighting it, and they don't want to fight it. They even say like, "We really don't want to fight you. We actually think you're really nice and you're a great person, and we actually want you to be with the professor if you can, because you're really nice and you're a good person." And the thing is that what happens is that as a spider, she ends up tying them up into some spider webs, creating a gigantic spider web, and then you see the professor who's still playing music and everything outside in this case, and then the professor ends up stopping her and talking to her, and the thing is that she ends up returning to a human form and ends up wearing a spider dress made from the spider web, which is kind of pretty on her. And, oddly enough, in a way. I mean, it's like pretty for an animated character, I guess. And the thing is that basically she ends up explaining to the professor that the reason why she can't, like, they end up kissing, and like everyone around them is like, "Oh, it's so nice" and everything, and then she ends up explaining why she can't be with the professor, at least right now, is the fact that she was a science experiment gone wrong. And the thing is that it caused her to be exposed to some spider DNA, and it turned her into, and it made it so that when she feels any feelings of love, then she'll turn into a spider. And because of this, she can't really stay with him because she'll be turning into spiders often, and the rampaging issue. And so the thing is that she's like, "No, I can't do this." So then back at the professor's home with the girls, they end up saying like, "We're sorry" and everything like that. And then he puts away his banjo, and the girls say, "Okay, I'm gonna go set up a movie or whatever. Let's kind of relax and everything." And then you see the professor saying, "I'll be out in a minute" or whatever. And the thing is that the professor, we see, has this notepad that says, Spider Cure attempt number 1, and then it ends the episode. Now, obviously, that's hinting at the point that most likely we're gonna see something happen in the future with her, where she's gonna return in some way, where maybe he'll be able to cure it or something, or maybe he'll try to, and maybe it'll work temporarily, or something will happen. I'm sure something's gonna happen, and she's gonna be a reoccurring character. Does that mean that she's gonna reoccur like 50 times over? No idea, but it is going to be interesting to see what they're going to do with that, because clearly he does have some dedication to her, so that's very nice. Overall, a nice episode, not anything super like huge, but a generally sweet episode that didn't have anything beyond like unusual or exciting, but definitely opens up a brand new plot point that will probably expand as the show goes on. I mean, this is episode 13, so yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this, so please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm Crazy71, and goodbye, guys.